In 2013, the NHL's division system was changed. 6 divisions became 4, 2 in each conference. Winnipeg moved to the Western Conference, and Detroit and Columbus moved over to the Eastern Conference, making it a 16-14 split, which was kind of weird, but didn't end up mattering too much, especially once Vegas entered the league 4 years later. But the way they divided the Eastern Conference divisions kind of bothered me. So I'm making this perhaps 7 years too late, but oh well, I've got stuff to say. And the first is, if you'd ask me, did the NHL get the divisions right in 2013? My answer would be no. So this is what they came up with in 2013. The 4 divisions are the Pacific, the Central, the Atlantic, names that were used divisionally before, and then the Metropolitan, which I think is weird and I'm not a fan of it. But anyways, let's go through the teams they placed in each division. So in the Pacific, we have the Anaheim Ducks, who were in the Pacific before. The Arizona Coyotes, who actually back then were still the Phoenix Coyotes. They also had been in the Pacific before. From the Northwest Division, the Calgary Flames. Also from the Northwest Division, the Edmonton Oilers. From the old Pacific Division, the LA Kings. And also from the Pacific, the San Jose Sharks. And then from the Northwest again, the Vancouver Canucks. In the Central, we have the Chicago Blackhawks, who were from the Central before. From the Northwest Division, the Colorado Avalanche. From the Pacific Division, the Dallas Stars. From the Northwest Division, the Minnesota Wild. From the old Central Division, the Nashville Predators. And again from the Central, the St. Louis Blues. Then from the Southeast Division, the Winnipeg Jets, who played in Atlanta's spot, but then got moved to a Central division, which fits way better for them geographically. In the Metro, we have from the Southeast Division, the Carolina Hurricanes. From the Central Division, the Columbus Blue Jackets. From the Atlantic Division, the New Jersey Devils. And also from the Atlantic, the New York Islanders and the New York Rangers. And also the Philadelphia Flyers and the Pittsburgh Penguins. They were all from the Atlantic. And then from the Southeast Division, the Washington Capitals. And then in the Atlantic, we have from the Northeast Division, the Boston Bruins, as well as the Buffalo Sabres from the Northeast. Then from the West's Central Division, we have the Detroit Red Wings. From the Southeast Division, the Florida Panthers. From the Northeast Division, we have both the Montreal Canadiens and the Ottawa Senators. From the Southeast again, the Tampa Bay Lightning. And again, from the Northeast, the Toronto Maple Leafs. So in this new Atlantic Division, we have no former Atlantic Division teams, which is weird, but okay. There are still Atlantic teams geographically in the Atlantic Division, but yeah. Let's actually, instead of just looking at the names, look at where these teams are geographically. So here's a map. So we have the Pacific Division in green, the Central Division in yellow, the Atlantic Division in red, and then the Metro in blue. And when I look at this map, all I think is like, why are Florida and Tampa with all the northern teams? Why are they not in the same division as the more southern eastern teams like Carolina and Washington and maybe even Columbus? And especially when I found out a better way to align it, I was just thinking, like, how could the NHL have overlooked this? Like, why didn't they choose this? Well, it seems like the rivalry between the Flyers and the Rangers, and then the rivalry between the Flyers and Devils was likely too strong. That's what I think of. Like, I don't know why else, because I know they were like I looked at the Wikipedia page of the Metro Division, and it talked about all the strong rivalries between that or within that division, and I remember them talking about how they wanted to encourage rivalries, and that's why they split the divisions the way they did, and so that must be why, is because of the Flyers and Rangers and the Flyers and Devils, because um well, we'll look at this Wikipedia page, and my version of the realignment would have kept what I see as the biggest rivalries, but would have also cut off a couple of others, like the ones we just talked about. But honestly, with these divisions, there have to be some rivalries cut off. And I feel like having Florida and Tampa with more southern teams is more important. So we have the Flyers Penguins rivalry, which I find to be super important. The Devils Rangers and the Islanders Rangers rivalries are also super important. Gotta have the Battle of New York. Caps Penguins is one of the most important rivalries in the NHL, that I think, at least that's in my opinion. And the other one intact, that's still intact, if it were my way, is the Caps Flyers. So while they still would be rivals, we would lose the Caps Rangers, Flyers Rangers, and Devils Flyers rivalries within the same division. But honestly, I think it's worth it. So my splitting of the divisions would kind of more look like this. So right between the Flyers and the Devils is where I would put the division right there. So the Atlantic would be all those upper Eastern teams, which it does split up Toronto and Detroit, but like back before this change, Detroit had been in the West anyways. So I didn't think that was a big deal, and especially because I'm looking back at this for a 2013 decision, even though right now it's 2020. But anyway, I don't think they did it right, and I think this way does it better. So we still have Toronto and Detroit split up, but I think that's fine. It brings Buffalo with all the other New York teams and New Jersey, which is it's not New York, but it's a lot like we have things like the Jets and the Giants in football in the NFL. They play in New Jersey. So New York and New Jersey they're not the same, but they are very, 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 very closely related. All the Canadian teams are still intact here. And yeah, so the rest of these teams would make up the Metro in the Eastern Conference. Although the Metro name, which I didn't like anyway, maybe wouldn't work as well because we don't have all the New York teams. When I think of Metro, I think of New York and like New Jersey and stuff. I don't know, maybe it would still work. These other cities, I don't know if they all have metropolitan areas. They must, they're big cities. Like even Raleigh must have. Yeah, because Raleigh Durham, I've heard that before. But anyway, I'm getting off track here. So yeah, and also Southeast Division. Like, if I'm trying to rename the Metro, because I don't like that name anyway, and I don't think it wouldn't quite work in the same way, but the Southeast Division, that wouldn't really work either because of teams like Detroit and Columbus, even the Pennsylvania teams. So I don't know what I would rename it. To me, it still looks like it would work better. So you have Pittsburgh and Columbus, which has kind of become a rivalry of its own over the years. You have Columbus, Detroit, who are close to each other. While it wasn't much of a rivalry, it is the team who swept Columbus in their playoff debut. If Columbus did have a rival before 2013, Detroit would possibly have been it. Maybe. I don't know. Some Central teams would have been it. And maybe that would have been built upon if the teams have ended up this way, maybe a Detroit-Columbus rivalry. You keep the Battle of Pennsylvania, which is absolutely necessary, as I feel Washington, Pittsburgh would also be. And then you have the Florida teams closer to Carolina. So I'm not sure why this didn't end up being what the NHL went for. There's Flyers, Devils, there's Flyers, Rangers, perhaps. I am underestimating those rivalries. But yeah, to me, this way looks to be the best. So if I had it my way, this would be the divisions. Uh, Detroit would swap with New Jersey. The Panthers and Islanders, which maybe is kind of a rivalry, but not that big of one, I wouldn't think. Maybe I'm wrong. But anyway, they would swap. And then the Rangers and Lightning, who very often end up with the same players, they would swap. And there's what the division should be, in my opinion. I'll just quickly switch it up so that we're back in alphabetical order. There we go. So, yeah, there's the way that I think the division should have been put together back in 2013. I know we lose a couple of big rivalries, well, according to Wikipedia, big rivalries, but I do think there are more important ones that we keep intact, right? While still giving Florida teams closer teams in their divisions. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's best. Also, I'm not sure what to rename the Metropolitan Division. Because, yeah, again, Southeast, no. Because, I don't know. I guess Columbus and Detroit are more southern than, let's see here. What is it? A lot of them, like Buffalo and Boston and Toronto, all those guys are in more northern, Ottawa and Montreal. But to call them Southeast, I don't know. Should it just be the Eastern Division? I'm not sure. I just put Eastern Division. I'll just put it there. Because I do prefer that to Metro anyway. Metro is, I don't know. I never liked that name. Then let me just update this to what would end up being the divisions in the West, which I think the NHL got right by switching Arizona over to the Central. So, yeah. Good stuff. So, there you go. This is how I think the divisions should look, basically. I think 2013 should have gone differently, but hey, it is what it is, I guess. But if the NHL does change things up to give Florida teams some closer division mates, then hey, I'm not going to complain. So there you go.